What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com, and I am back with my top 5 picks for the week in the world of mixed martial arts. And in fact, it's my top 5 picks for UFC 318. This is my first of 2 betting shows this week. The other one will be my top 5 picks for PFL Africa, which is coming up this Saturday as well. So 2 really good cards. But on this occasion, I'm going to give you my top 5 bets for the UFC. On the other show, I'll recap last week's bets as well. We only hit one, but I will recap them on that show, and I'll give you my bets for the PFL as well. But for UFC 318, let's get straight into it here. And bet number 1 is Dustin Poirier. I've been trawling through these prices for the last couple of days, and actually, before I get to my first bet, these 5 bets are going to be all plus money bets. I'm giving you 2 kind of half flyers here. I'm not giving you a major 5-1, 6-1 flyer. Something a little bit different today, but these are all plus money prices. And the first one is Dustin Poirier at plus. He's around about, you can get him at different prices, around about plus 112. I've seen him around even money or a little bit less other places, but plus 112 is the price for Dustin Poirier. Look, a lot of people are picking against Dustin Poirier here. A lot of people are picking Max Holloway. Max Holloway is the favourite, minus 129. I'm just looking at it here, the live odds. And I can see why. He is the younger guy, 3 years younger. He is the guy who maybe has the form lately, beating Justin Gaethje a couple of fights ago, whereas, you know, Poirier has lost Islam Makhachev, and it's only Benoit Saint-Denis, you know, that he's beaten in the last 3 years, who, you know, is a little bit less, I would say, of a level than the guys around the top of the lightweight division. So I can see that. But do you know what? I'm not going to get into a breakdown of the ins and outs of this fight here, or the parts of their career that they're in, or anything like that. There's one thing I think this goes down to, and that is the division. Like, Max Holloway fought Dustin Poirier in this division in 2019, and he lost him. And I think a large part of him losing that fight was the size. He didn't have enough time to, he fought against Brian Ortega in December, and April he fought Dustin Poirier. Didn't have enough time to turn it around and, you know, be a guy in the lightweight division, in my opinion. And I think it's history repeating itself here. He went back to featherweight after that fight, fought every single fight at featherweight until Justin Gaethje in April of last year. They went back, fought Justin Gaethje lightweight, went back to featherweight in October, and now here, okay, it's a good 8-9 months later, but at the same time, is he a fully fledged lightweight to fight a lightweight at the very, very top of that division? Maybe look at that Justin Gaethje fight and say yes, but against a guy like Poirier who gives different looks than Justin Gaethje, I think a more technical fighter, and obviously, you know, they fought twice before, but the first one you can kind of write it off as a small bit. But the last fight in the lightweight division, Poirier he started very well. He looked to have the power, and he outlasted him. And do you know what? I think the same thing will happen here again. I really, really like Poirier in this fight. Look, it's the last fight of his career. He's put everything into it. Some people might say, look, he's one foot out the door. I'm not buying into that. I'm buying into Poirier in a fight we all know this is going to be a 5-round stand-up fight. We know Holloway has amazing cardio, and he can go. But I think what Dustin Poirier has shown is his second win is really, really good. And if he wins a couple of those rounds early, let's say he wins the first 2 rounds, I find it very hard to see him not picking up one of the last 3 to win a decision. So I'm going with Dustin Poirier. I like him just as a straight up bet. It's my only straight up bet of today, funnily enough. Plus 112 there. Actually, no. Sorry, it is my only. I'm looking one here. I have it written down wrong, but I'll fix that in my notes. Bet number 2 of the week. This is a one that maybe the stats don't tell you everything on this one, but I think I'm going to defy the stats for a second, right? So I'm going for Roman Kopylov, and I'm going for Kopylov via decision at plus 102. Now, you look at Kopylov, he doesn't, and why I say the stats don't add up, then he's fighting Paulo Costa here. Why did the stats not add up? Because Roman Kopylov has won 14 times in his career, and 12 of them have been knockouts, right? His last fight was a knockout. In fact, actually, the fight before that was a decision over Cesar Almeida. But it does the fight at the straight up price here is minus 233 for Kopylov, plus 200-ish for Paulo Costa. So Kopylov is the big favorite, and I'm giving you an even money bet on him here, a plus 102 to win the decision. The reason I think why he does win a decision here is Paulo Costa, at 34 years of age, 18 fights into his career. I think we know an awful lot about Paulo Costa right now, and the two things I think that stand out with Paulo Costa, if he's going in there and he's going to beat you, he's going to make it look good, and more so obviously early in his career. I'm looking at the record here. He's only won one of his last 5, and that was actually a decision, funny enough, against Luke Rockhold, and the Oil Romero decision before that. But Uriah Hall, Hendricks, and all the fights before that, literally all the fights before that were finishes. And the other side of it is, if he is to get beaten by you, apart from Adesanya, who destroyed him, he will stick in there. Vettori decision lost, Whitaker decision lost, Strickland split decision lost. He will stick in there with you. And that's kind of my prediction for this one. I think he will stick in there with Kopylov. Kopylov has looked very good. He, the two fights I mentioned that he won, look, we all lose to Fluffy Hernandez, seemingly in that division. But, I think this fight, you look at Kopylov anyway, and he's not a lot of finishes, but very few first-round finishes. In fact, he's never had a first-round finish in the UFC. He finishes third-round finish, second-round finish, second-round finish, second-round finish, third-round finish. Which, okay, as I said, I'm picking this fight in by decision, but I think Paulo Costa is at a higher level to a lot of those lads he's been finishing, and I think Costa will stick in there, and I think he will make it tough. So that's pick number 2 of the week, and it is your guy Kopylov to win by decision, a plus 102. Pick number 3, I was a little bit surprised with this price, and I had to double check it, but people out there, feel free to double check it again. Daniel Zellhuber is a big favorite, minus 521 to win here, but Zellhuber to win via KO is plus 192. Now, he's favored to win via decision, but I love that plus 192 price, and that's definitely the price I'm giving you here. Now, you look at Zellhuber, and okay, he's not the biggest finishing rate in the world. I'm looking here in Sherdog, he's 47%. Knockout rate. He's a few more finishes. He's 3 submissions thrown in there as well. And, he hasn't had a knockout in a while. A lot of decisions recently, and, a couple of submissions thrown in there as well. But the reason I'm going for him to win here via knockout, and I don't necessarily mean first round knockout or anything like that. I think Michael Johnson is at a stage in his career now at, just turned 39. He's 2 good wins recently. The Ottoman Nightstar knockout was a real good win as well. But I think having been out of the cage for, 8 months, 9 months at this stage of his career against, a young, tough guy like Zellhuber who, had a great fight with Esteban Ribovic last year at the UFC Noche card where he kind of went to war on it. I think if Michael Johnson gets involved in kind of a war like that, I think he could be in real trouble against a guy like Zellhuber. The opposite of what I was saying in the last fight, Zellhuber has first round finishes in his career. I know, again, as I said earlier on in his career, but we're looking to get plus money bets out here. I just think at this stage of Johnson's career, again, even though he's won 2 in a row, is Zellhuber kind of the younger, at 26 years of age, and just turned 26 years of age this week, 6'1", a big guy for the division as well. Is he going to kind of overwhelm him? And I said, early he might be dangerous, but also, what if Michael Johnson has a good first round, as he tends to do at times, where he lands a few shots, Zellhuber comes through him, and maybe he just outlasts him a little bit. I can absolutely see that happening as well. That's happened before to Michael Johnson, where he has been finished. Diego Ferreira finished him in the second round. Lost in the second round as well to Thiago Moises, knocked out in the third round by Josh Emmett. finished in the second round by Elkins and Gaethje. Habib finished him in the third. That can happen as well. So that's bet number 3. I'm going for Zellhuber to get the knockout at plus 192. And now on to my 2 kind of mini flyers. I'm going for Patricio Pitbull to win via decision over Dan Ige at plus 290. This is a bet I kind of went back and forth on, if I'm being honest. The straight up price of this are minus 200 for Ige, plus 173 for Pitbull. I was going to give Pitbull straight up at plus 173, but I wanted to get a little bit more of him. Like, I'm forgetting about my record here for a second. I'm giving you big plus money prices. Plus 173 is a pretty good plus money price, but I actually think if Pitbull is to win this fight, he'll almost certainly win it via decision. And actually, I'm just looking at it here. That price actually changed. He's actually plus 305 now to win via decision. So that price has gone up. So plus 305. My other bet is around the same price as well. And we'll get to that in a second. But I just think Patricio, it's funny. He's 36 wins in his career, right? 12 KOs, 12 submissions, 12 decisions. That says a whole lot. Anything could happen here. But he has had a lot of decisions recently. Like his last fight, obviously went to decision. He lost it. The 2 fights before that, the Kennedy fight and the Suzuki fight, they were kind of odd fights. But before that, Pettis fight, he lost it, went to decision. But the Erbs fight, decision. Barrocks beat him in decision. AJ McKee beat him via decision as well. Pitbull is becoming more of that sort of fighter, in my opinion. You look at Dan Ige's side of it, he's gone to a decision 16 times in his career. He's lost 9 decisions in his career. Never been finished. All his losses, he's 19-9, all 9 losses via decision. And I think the reason Pitbull is an underdog here is because of the fashion in which he lost to Yair Rodriguez, where he said very safe and nothing much happened. And, Ige, again, he beat Sean Woodson last time out, looked really, really good in that. I think the 2 fights before that, one, obviously the short notice one against Diego Lopez, losing to Lerone Murphy, and he fought very well in that Lerone Murphy fight. I actually think Pitbull can kind of fight like Lerone Murphy did in that, where it's a very close fight. He lands a couple of power shots to steal a couple of rounds. And I think that's the way this fight's going to go. People kind of writing off Patricio based on what he did there. Again, he is a little bit older, 38 at the lower weight classes. Moving down against Pettis, I think, was a bit of a mistake. But, Pitbull is the class act. He is the class fighter. I'm not saying Ige isn't, but Pitbull is a class act. And I absolutely would not write him off yet. Ige, again, 33 years of age, a younger guy, but, not young in his career when he's fought so many... 28 fights, but as I said, 16 of them to a decision. I'm going with Pitbull. I like Pitbull in that one. And the final bet of the week, my guy, I have a love-hate relationship with him, but I'm going for Kevin Holland via submission at plus 300 against Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin Holland, I think when he started off, a lot of people look at him and like, Jesus, this guy's really good on the ground. He's 9 submission wins in his career. Obviously, last time out, he submitted Luque. Now, Rodriguez only been submitted once in his career, and that was against Neil Magny. But, has he fought the who's who of kind of submission artists? Fought a lot of good guys, a lot of good, guys on the ground and well-rounded guys, but not necessarily, the best guys he fought recently that he lost to Ian Gary knocked him out, obviously, and then Magny, as I said, choked him out. Beat Marone Ponzinibbio last 2 fights, so he's bounced back a little bit. But I actually think, again, 38 years of age, I think the best days are behind Rodriguez, and that performance against Gary and the performance against Gastelum, even though he went to a decision, I don't think he's the same fighter as he once was. He's kind of fighting in the last 2 fights, lads more of his ilk or his era, whereas Holland, a lot younger, on a great run as well. The last 2 beat Cody Nelson and Vicente Luque. And I feel like this is one of those fights where Kevin Holland will probably fight with him on the feet, and there'll probably be a lot of big shots landed. And you could see a stumble or, Holland jumping on someone's back and catch him. I just have an awful feeling Holland is going to catch him here. And when I saw that price as well, like the straight up price here, Holland minus 430 plus 353 for Rodriguez. When I scrolled down and when I saw the submission price, and I saw Holland at plus 300. You know, I had to jump on that. So that is my 5th bet. Love that bet. And just to recap, the 5 bets for UFC 318: Poirier plus 112 straight up, Kopylov via decision plus 102, plus 192 for Zellhuber via knockout. I'm going for Pitbull via decision and plus 305, and Kevin Holland to win by submission at plus 300. Looking forward to the fights this weekend. Everybody, please bet responsibly. Let me know in the comment section below your one best bet for UFC 318. Please give us a like and subscribe. But until then, my name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.